Welcome to another edition of Turn 6 Garage, and today I'm in the cockpit of another jalopy! A very rare one. A 2005 Mercedes A200 with a 5-speed manual transmission. A manual Mercedes-Benz in Australia. Very, very rare piece of kit we've got here. Or should that be piece of shit? This one is not a very nice example of one that's been brought back to life from being left to die by its previous owner. You see, the trouble started when I found this marketplace ad for $1,000. Mercedes A200 doesn't start. Worth it for genuine Mercedes parts, according to its previous owner, who had turned this once $50,000 delight into a bloody toilet. And they destroyed it alright. Starter motor was bunged, the clutch was destroyed, the flywheel was destroyed, the thermostat was destroyed, the sunroof was destroyed. Yep, you heard me right. This has the Mercedes panoramic sunroof and a manual gearbox. This would be rare in the extreme. I've only ever seen one other A200 manual and it hasn't got any of those options. I.e. the sunroof and the light beige interior. It had a black interior. Thought about buying that, but didn't. This is such a rare car that was just treated like absolute garbage by a previous owner, who had absolutely no understanding what they had. So, 50 grand A-Class, 19 years later. Pano glass roof that actually now works. One of the only pano glass roof Mercs that actually works all the way. Very rare, very unusual. It was meant to go in the rental fleet, but I found it too nice. That's why I only buy horrible shitboxes now, even worse than this for the rental fleet that I don't want to keep. So how does this rare Mercedes drive? It's actually a very nice little thing to drive, the A200 manual. Gear change is reasonably responsive. It feels very light over the front wheels, which means you can chuck it into corners very easily. The gearbox feels precise. The pedals are very good for hill towing, and that turn is really nice. It turns very well. The A drives very well in terms of the A's handling is very good for a little front-wheel drive hatchback, especially a tall front-wheel drive hatchback. There is a little bit of understeer, but with the manual box, it doesn't feel heavy over the front wheels. I can place this car where I want it, how I want it. And that's something I didn't expect when I first looked at this thing. I thought, well, it'll be tall, I want to tip over. This thing actually turns very well in this guise. The ride's okay. It's not choppy. It's not especially supple either, though. Those big wheels do make a bit of a difference. And at smaller rims, it probably would ride a lot better. The engine feels very muscular. Very, very... The engine feels quite muscular, it growls very nicely, it makes a good noise, but it's quiet as well. Especially on longer journeys in 5th gear, you can just stick it in 5th and 2 and a bit thousand RPM, and it's actually not intrusive. NVH is good. On an uphill, it's actually pretty good, the clutch and the engine gearbox. You can have a lot of fun driving a manual A-Class. Not a car I expected to find the thrill of driving in, but it's a very nice little thing to drive. I enjoy working through the gears. The engine sounds good. I mean, it's a good package. It probably should be a good package given how much it was worth new. It's not especially fast though. It's chuckable, but performance is not one of its strongest suits. It could be a lot faster. I would love an A200 turbo manual, but they're even rarer than these, if such a thing exists, because these things are virtually non-existent in Australia. In Europe they're 10 a penny, but in Australia A200 manual 5 doors are pretty rare automobiles. But it's hard to see why, because it's a good car to drive. It's very positive to drive. It's very easy to drive. It's very easy to slot through town centres and side streets. It's a very good little package. It's a very underappreciated package. This car around a tight series of low speed corners, it's fun to drive. It's comfortable. Dynamically, it's a very good car for what it is. I didn't expect this out of the A. I thought this would be want to turn on its door handles and want to tip over at anything more than 50, 60 k's an hour, but this thing's nice little thing to drive, and you've got all the practicality of the Eggmobile A-Class. There's plenty of room front and back, and the boot's pretty useful. Now, when you were spending 50 grand with your Mercedes in 2005, you expected quality. But you see, this was the not so good era of Mercedes. Yeah, this didn't feel particularly well built. And it wasn't particularly well cared for, this car, in its latter years. Lots of dings and dents everywhere. Every time I look at it, there's a new dent or mark I see on it. I believe the owner before the previous owner did care for this one, because they did stick about 120,000 Ks according to the car history report. So it probably had some maintenance in its life, but there was a lot of things that hadn't been done on this car. However, having said that, now it's done and finished. It's actually a very nice car. Well, I say that, there's a couple of things wrong. The rear door locks are kind of screwed, which still need changing. And the reverse light does not turn on when you lift the clutch up. Yeah, it's still got issues. But we are talking about a car here that's had a lot of things not done for a period of time. And it's what happens when you neglect something and sell it to someone cheap enough because it's that undesirable, who then turns it into a toilet. No, really, they did. They absolutely abuse it. This has to be one of the furthest projects I've ever had to do. This car has been trashed. It has been poor looked after. I didn't do a lot of the work. It was done by other mechanics, but this car was trashed when we got it. Just destroyed. Not many people would want to save a manual A-Class. But then again, not many people are Euro trash nuts that love them, especially with 3 pedals, so it kind of found the right masochist at the right time, you shall say. But as I sit in this car, it's still a nice place to be. It's still a happy place for me. It's a manual Mercedes, it's a rare car, and it's actually really nice and really comfortable. It's easy to get into, it's easy to get out of, it's comfortable, it's spacious, it's practical. It's a lot of things. But 50 grand! That was a lot of money in 2005. That was a Megane 225 and change, a Golf GTI and change, it was a Commodore SS, a Falcon XR8, even a HSV Club Sport for a little bit more. And Mercedes-Benz, well, didn't exactly give you a quality product for the money. And when you open the glove box, there is a sum total of 0 service history. Who knows how many oil changes it had. what I believed with its previous owner, I wouldn't be surprised if it had 20, 30,000 kilometre oil change intervals, because why would you do that? Why would you change the oil? Why would you look after it if you only paid 5 or 6 grand for it? In their eyes, at least. It's a donkey to them. Smash it, abuse it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what I noticed throughout this entire car. The gear knob's different because it looks like a dog chewed on the original knob. The 12 volt port, well, that's busted as well. I mean, they just broke and bashed and abused this thing until it didn't move anymore. A bit like my 325, really. But it found someone that loved it, which was why it's still here, because most other people would have just junked this jalopy for parts. It found the right masochist at the right time.